My name is Julian, and I've got a wild story that happened on Valentine's Day. So I thought I'd surprise my girlfriend Cece with a romantic getaway to this cabin in the Alps. Spoiler alert, it didn't turn out like a cheesy rom-com. On a chilly Friday night after work, we excitedly packed our bags, jumped into the car, and hit the road. The drive to the cabin was supposed to take around 4 hours, and as the sun dipped below the horizon, darkness enveloped the winding roads. The headlights of our car cut through the night, revealing only a few other vehicles on the road. However, as we ventured deeper into the wilderness, the number of cars dwindled until it felt like we were the only ones traversing those lonely roads. Few cars on the road, and suddenly Cece's like, "Hey, that black Peugeot's been tailing us for a while." I shrugged it off, thinking they were just going in the same direction. So I reassured her, convincing myself that it was mere coincidence, that the other car was probably headed in the same direction. Eventually, we arrived at the cabin, a quaint and isolated haven nestled in the heart of the woods. It was late, and we decided to settle for canned food, heat it up, and head straight to bed. The place was warm, tiny, and right in the middle of nowhere, perfect for a weekend escape, or so we thought. The next morning, we were having a cozy breakfast of coffee, bread, and jam when Cece spotted something odd: tire tracks in the snow outside, like someone came and left that morning. We joked about it being some early riser, not wanting to let it ruin our lovey-dovey vibe. Fast forward to night 2, we were by the fireplace sipping wine, and suddenly there were these weird noises outside, like footsteps in the snow. I was thinking, oh, it's probably just an animal. But Cece had that look, the one that said something was off. We peeked outside, and what did we see? A guy in dark clothes, wearing a mask, and carrying a shotgun. Not exactly the Valentine's Day vibe we were aiming for. Moonlight barely showed his face, and we were stuck between fear and wondering if it was some kind of bizarre prank. As this masked stranger did a creepy little perimeter dance around the cabin, it hit us. Our romantic getaway wasn't as exclusive as we thought. Panic time. We locked every possible entry point, thinking we were in some thriller movie but with way worse production values. Footsteps in the snow kept us on edge, and the guy got closer. No ghostly whispering, no haunted house creaks, just the real-life horror of a shotgun-wielding stranger coming our way. Huddled inside, we tried to convince ourselves that the cabin walls would keep us safe. But reality check. This wasn't a YouTube penny horror story. It was some live-action, nerve-wracking drama. Just as the adrenaline surged through our veins, the man outside raised his shotgun and fired a warning shot into the air, sending us into a frenzy of terror. Our hearts pounded in our chests as we realized the gravity of the situation. The masked intruder meant business, and daylight seemed like a distant dream in our nightmare come to life. We fumbled for our phones, desperate to call the police, but the signal was weak, leaving us with no choice but to huddle together in the dark, waiting for help to arrive. It was like being in one of those cheesy horror movies where the characters can't get a decent signal. So there we were, just two folks stuck in a spooky cabin, hoping our luck would turn around before things got even scarier. As we listened to the sounds of the man outside, a chilling thought crossed our minds. Was this some twisted hunting season gone wrong? Or perhaps a real-life purge scenario unfolding before our eyes? The uncertainty only added to the terror as we braced ourselves for whatever nightmare awaited us next. Eventually, the dude with the shotgun vanished into the dark, leaving us stuck in a cabin that felt more like a cardboard fort. When that first ray of sunlight peeked through the windows, we didn't waste a second. Grabbed our stuff, got the heck out of there, and never looked back. Our dreamy Valentine's Day escape had turned into an unexpected thriller, complete with a masked stranger and a shotgun. Not exactly the romantic plot twist we had in mind. This is a story that I've heard from my coworker while I was working in France. Here is how the story begins. My name is Julie. It all started in the enchanting streets of Paris. Alone on a Valentine's Day, I decided to go to a bistro nearby and feel less lonely, where I met Eric. He had a magnetic charm that drew me in, and our connection was like destiny. We laughed, shared stories, and it felt like the start of something magical, and we were made for each other. After a couple of dates at bistros and wine bars, the chemistry between us was undeniable. Our second date took us to a cozy wine bar. The dimly lit room echoed with laughter and the clinking of glasses. Eric and I shared a bottle of Pomerol red wine Chateau La Conseillante, vintage 2008, one of my favorites, losing track of time as we delved into conversations about our dreams, life, and jobs. The atmosphere was perfect, and the evening ended with a lingering kiss that left me wanting more. The following nights were just as enchanting. A small bistro became our haven, where candlelight danced on our faces as we indulged in delightful French cuisine. Eric's smile and the sparkle in his eyes made every moment feel like a scene from a romantic movie. It was like he knew me better than I knew myself, anticipating my every want and need, like knowing my penchant for sunflowers and the specific drink I craved after my gym sessions. As our connection deepened, so did the intensity of Eric's affection. Eric was always around, wanting to be part of every little thing in my life. At first, it was kind of sweet, but then it started feeling suffocating. And here's where things took a seriously turn. I would wake up in the middle of the night, feeling a presence in my room. Despite turning on the lights, I found nothing. Desperate for a break, I decided on an impromptu 3-week vacation in Koh Samui, Thailand, without informing anyone but my best friend, Marion. As the sun kissed my skin and the waves whispered serenades, I thought I had left my worries behind in a distant memory. But then, like an unexpected storm on a clear day, Marion's message shattered my tranquility. Her words cut through the tranquil haze like a lightning bolt, shattering my peaceful reverie. Eric, the name I had tried to forget, resurfaced in a disturbing context. Leaked security cam footage from my apartment, Eric sneaking in at night, watching me sleep, rifling through my belongings. It sounded like something out of a nightmare. For a moment, disbelief held me captive. But as the gravity of Marion's message sank in, a sense of unease crept over me. How had Eric managed to break in my home? The carefree ambiance of Thailand suddenly felt like a distant memory, replaced by a nagging sense of vulnerability. I couldn't shake the feeling of violation, the knowledge that someone had invaded my privacy in such an intimate way. With a sigh, I abandoned my beachside reverie and reached for my phone, fingers trembling as I typed out a response to Marion. It was clear that I couldn't ignore this revelation no matter how much I wished to bury my head in the sand. After returning from Thailand, Marion and I wasted no time heading to the police station. With Marion's reassuring presence beside me, I found the courage to report Eric's disturbing behavior. After reporting Eric's trespass to the police, they swiftly took action, apprehending him within days. As the dust settled, I realized that my Prince Charming had turned into a nightmare. And that's the end of that chapter. From now on, I've sworn off French guys for good. Lesson learned, and never again will I fall for their charm.